Alright, so this is really a fun one today, and it's the story of my favorite bike. Also, a great example of how things aren't always exactly what you expect them to be. This is an oldie but goodie, and I don't just mean the bike, the video as well, long before the days of electronic image stabilization. So join along on this little ride as I go over a few reasons why this bike, despite having so many others that are faster, better performing, and look a lot better, this bike has consistently worn the crown of my favorite since I've had it. And oddly enough, it's something that I never could have expected. I even find it kind of funny that every time I get on this bike, I have 10 times more fun than I do on any of my faster, high performance vehicles. And I do think that there's a lot that you can learn from this video and about your own mindset, how to absolutely maximize the level of fun that you squeeze out of your life. So go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button, show your boy some support, because in addition to having a bunch of fun, I am also a businessman, and I'd like to share with you how business has created so many opportunities for me to enjoy my life the way that I want to. And I want to be able to share these things with you so that you can build the opportunities that you want for yourself. And I don't just build motorcycles and vehicles. They're honestly just hobbies that I really enjoy, along with all of the additional opportunities that they create for fun and profit as well. And that's reason number one why this bike is my favorite, because it was the first engine that I ever rebuilt, and it taught me how engines work and how to build them. No person, literally just from taking this thing apart and putting it back together with good parts. So there is a bit of sentiment behind why I love this thing so much.
What a blast.
And it's all rooted in learning. It taught me the most. This thing taught me something pivotal that I could apply to so many other things. So believe it or not, this little bike in the video and all of the information that I'm sharing with you is actually incredibly relevant to what makes all of these creations and all of these different opportunities possible in the first place.
These aren't bad little Explorer bikes.
Along with experiencing even more profound benefits like eliminating a great deal of stress and worry from your life. For example, emergencies become a thing of the past. I mean, not all of them, let's be reasonable now, but for the most part, if you have enough knowledge about something and something arises like your vehicle breaking down and you know how they work, then you'll never really find yourself in a position like, what do I do now? Which can do absolute wonders for your peace of mind and sense of stability, and I think everyone deserves that. And you know what? You'll actually see the perfect example of that in this video in just a moment here. It's actually quite incredible. So definitely stick around, and don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button for me, because like I said before, I don't just build vehicles and toys. Life is multifaceted, right? And if anyone's telling you you gotta just be good at one thing, they're lying to you. Don't fall for it. The more things you know and the more skills you have, the easier your life becomes. And honestly, you can usually use one skill to refine another. And when you start blending different skills together, you only create more opportunities for yourself. So never let anyone tell you that you can't be good at things, okay? You can be good at as many things as you want, and the reality is that life requires it, because sometimes along your journey you're going to come into some unforeseen problems, like I am right here in this video. And that brings me to reason number 2 why this is my favorite bike, and also a great example of what I spoke about earlier on how having different skills eliminates stress and emergencies from your life. So reason number 2 is because this bike has always gotten me home, and most of the reasoning for that can be contributed to its simple construction. As you can see here, I'm having a little bit of trouble. Something has locked up the rear wheel, and I can't even figure out exactly what it is at first. But it didn't take long before I realized. Now, I've definitely had some funky problems in the past, and I've had bikes that have either needed to be towed off the trail or left me pushing for miles at a time just to find my way back. But one way or another, this bike has always gotten me home, even if I might bump into a problem every once in a while. And this was really a perfect storm. As you can see, I lost the bolt right here, which is pretty important. It's responsible for holding the brake in place, and as I'm moving it back into the position that it should be, you can actually see that it caused the rod that connects the foot pedal to the brake mechanism itself to wrap completely around the axle. And it was also strange and a very rare occurrence because there's normally a cotter pin that holds everything in place, which obviously failed, leading to a chain reaction, which obviously led me here. But as you can see, with skills and innovation, we don't take any time out to stress or worry about it, because Mother Nature itself provided me with some spare parts in a blink of an eye. See how quickly that was done? It fits perfect. Don't you just love Mother Nature? I mean, how can you not, right? But my point is that there's really no time wasted stressing out or worrying or even considering something like this an emergency situation, even though it was far enough where the push home would really suck. It's not even worth wasting your time or your thoughts thinking that way. It's best to just get right to it and do what needs to be done. I'm already celebrating in this video. Do you hear the confidence? And look at that. I found a stick. Another one. And it's the perfect size. Hey, you can never be too cautious. It's always good to have a couple of spare parts on you. So I brought this thing along too. I'm literally finding spare parts everywhere. This is awesome. There really wasn't one moment through this where I felt pressured or stressed out. So yeah, forget about stress, worrying, and emergencies. This was a moment of triumph. Now we also get to see what I spoke about earlier as additional benefits. Because now you can see we're off to the races again. And this video always cracks me up looking back on, you know, how bold I was and my attitude back when I was younger. But yeah, there was not even an initial thought about turning around and going back. And as you can see, I'm not even being that light on throttle here. I'm actually giving it the berries and having a good old time as if nothing was wrong in the first place. Still riding pretty hard, having a grand old time, not a worry in the world. Which brings me to reason number 3 as to why this is my favorite bike, and that would be fun factor. And I guess now is a great time to talk about the origins of this thing and give a little bit of background about it. It originally belonged to my little brother, and this is how it was purchased. No front fender, the color was all white, 90 cc's, and they used to sell these things at Pep Boys. Apparently someone had bought it for their daughter. The daughter had ridden it and crashed it one time and was afraid of it, and her father was just ready to get rid of it for less than $200. And at the time, this bike was nearly new. We're talking the year 2000, 2001. That's 25 years old at this point. So my brother rode it for a while. I had a little go-kart. We rode together, had some fun, and after a couple years it broke down and no one could fix it. Not my father, not any of his mechanic friends, and it ended up just sitting in the backyard for a couple years, honestly, before I turned about 16 years old. And a friend of mine had picked up a similar one, 50 cc's in yellow, and he also convinced me to get this thing running again. And we tried everything, towing it around with a 3-wheeler, trying to get enough engine rotation to spark and pull enough fuel through. Carburetors were rebuilt. The thing just wouldn't start up. He suggests just rebuild the engine. Sounds easy, but I didn't know how to do the timing. So he tells me about a website, which was rare. This was in the time where there wasn't as much information on the internet, especially when it comes to these things. And yeah, that's all it really took to convince me. I checked out the site. I was shocked at how simple everything was. Ordered some parts and rebuilt the engine, and ever since then this thing has run phenomenally. It's been an absolute blast, super reliable, maybe a couple things here and there over the years, but generally speaking, all I ever really needed to do was change the oil, fill it up with fuel, and occasionally put a new set of tires on it, because I'm pretty sure this thing has over 100,000 miles on it. I would literally get home from school and forget about my car. I would hop on this thing and ride until late into the night, searching for little routes all throughout town that were kind of off the beaten path, out of sight. Check this out. As you saw, I stayed positive and continued on the ride as if nothing happened. Spent some time by the river, and now you can see me arrive back at the place where I originally had the problem. But this is why you gotta stay positive, guys. I figured, hey, why not just take a look? And yeah, that really happened. And you could go back and look, there's no real edits or cuts. I literally came straight from the river, and I felt like it was the first leaf that I turned over. I was already set on buying a new bolt, but that's the importance of staying positive. That universal energy will always come back around to reward you, whether you believe it or not. And honestly, I think that's a pretty important variable when it comes to the fun factor of this bike. Just never having to worry, because everything is built in such a simple manner that you never really have to worry. And when you're riding around on a machine that you never really have to worry about, the only thing that's left is having fun. And it just adds to the fun because you eliminate the sense of worry. Parts are cheap, it's super easy to fix. Not that you ever really need to fix the thing because it never breaks due to its simple and solid construction. I've really grown to appreciate something that you can beat on, you know, something that you can use to its full potential. And when the circumstances allow it, to push even beyond that. That's when you have the most fun. I have nicer machines that I don't ride anywhere near as hard as I ride this thing, and I don't have as much fun on them because of it. I don't want anything bad to happen to them, especially when it comes to some of my more rare vehicles that are harder to find parts for. And I mean, this little thing still boogies. It's fast enough to have some fun on. May not get up to speed that fast, but it was definitely good for 55 miles an hour consistently, which is plenty fast enough for a quick getaway if you need to, from, I don't know, maybe some Karens or the police. Not that I recommend it, but let's be honest, if you have a love for these types of activities, it can be kind of painful at the fact that something so innocent can attract so much negative attention and potentially trouble. But as long as you have some knowledge and a solid plan and you stick with it, there's really not much that can stop you or get in your way. Well, hopefully you guys liked my corny stick joke, and I know it was corny. Don't be a stickler about it, okay? We don't need any more sticky situations. Look, I really didn't want to make this video about sticks, but that stick and this bike came together like this and got me home. Long story short, it was a good stick. But alright, let's stick to the topic at hand. Just stick with me for a moment longer, because what I really wanted to finish this video up with is sticks. When I really began to fall in love with this little bike. It all started on late nights. Different people used to come over all the time. I was always building something. People would come over, learn a few things, and then move on. And one night, after rebuilding and working on some four-wheelers, we retired to a game of Super Smash Bros. Before one of my buddies said, "Hey, we should ride the mini bikes." At which point, I had two. Thought about it for a moment, discussed a plan on how to stay unseen and keep a low profile. We didn't want any drama, alright, just smooth sailing. We planned out a route, fueled up, and off we went. This obviously wasn't legal, but I think that was part of what added the thrill to it. You know, it added a certain level of thrill. It's what made the experience that much more fun. Even though we weren't ever really doing anything bad, it just made it that much better. And then night after night, we were riding and pretty much seeing how far from home we could get. We would stop at different schools and parks, and one of the things that we made a tradition was to lap every baseball field that we came across, whether it was at school, a local park. But we wouldn't tear up the baseball pitch. We would keep everything low impact because we wanted to keep doing it. So one of the biggest things was staying unseen, sneaking around at night. It was so fun. And that's why this thing is spray painted black. It has been for a long time. And I even went to extensive lengths to make it quieter so that no one would hear us or be able to find us if they were looking for us. But there was really nothing else like it. Riding late at night, hot summer nights, no shirt on, so far from home, and it really began to fascinate me how these tiny little engines could carry me and take me so far. Something that I could hold in one hand had the power to carry me at 55 to 60 miles per hour. And since that time, this bike has been constantly upgraded with, a lighting system. Oh, that's really bright. Lifted it up a little higher. Now it has a bigger engine on it. It's just been an absolute blast. And I realized that the best riding is with two people, okay? Three, there's always someone who's lagging behind a little bit and it can get a little sketchy. I like to move as one unit. Two people can oftentimes be the perfect amount. I've even grown to appreciate riding by myself a lot. But there really is nothing like two people sneaking through the night on the same wavelength. I remember one time we were in this neighborhood and we weren't communicating, weren't talking, we were just kind of enjoying the ride, and we're kind of going around each other a little bit, and then we pull up next to each other and the bikes hit the same exact RPM, and we were just riding. It sounded like one bike. We just looked at each other and started cracking up. It was such an amazing feeling to be on that same frequency. It's a great way to bond with some friends. And if you notice how much, I don't think I could crouch down any lower than this, but if you notice how low I'm crouching, there's a reason for that too. I think that contributes to why I love this thing so much. It's real easy to hide behind bushes or even cars. You pull up next to a car and just kind of duck down over the handlebars here, and you're out of sight, out of mind. This was before all the electric bikes, and it was a little harder to go unnoticed, but it just added to the thrill, added to the fun. And there was a couple times where the police came after us, but we will plan our routes accordingly and never really have to worry, because at some point we're going to come across a point in our path that they wouldn't be able to follow us. And that's another benefit to having such a tiny bike. You can really get in and out of the tiniest places. I guess you could kind of do the same thing on a larger bike, but it's really just not the same. For example, one time I actually was being chased by the boys in blue, and I cornered myself, but oh, reliable here, I just picked it up, being the strapping young spring chicken that I once was. I just picked this thing up and threw it over the fence, and then hopped the fence and picked it up. I hit the throttle, and I don't even think I was on it yet before it started speeding away. I think I had to jump onto the thing. The best part was it didn't even stop running the whole time. Like, it's just been so perfect. And even if it would have stopped running, I'm sure it would have started in one kick. You could kick this thing over with your pinky. It would fire up so easily. So I don't necessarily recommend participating in some of those activities. Although they are somewhat innocent, they could be against the law. But I do encourage you to get out there. Keep a low profile, have some fun. Just don't get into any trouble. Sometimes it's the least expected things in life that really grab your heart. I wouldn't trade this bike for anything. The last thing that I want to say is that keeping a low profile when it comes to making videos doesn't really work. So if you guys want to help me kind of blow this thing up, tell your friends. If you like the videos, let me know. And yeah, I just want to know what you guys think. I obviously like to have fun, but I also like making money and saving money and utilizing that money to create fun, but also plan everything out strategically so that I'm living my life in the most responsible and successful manner, so that I can continue to do the things that I want. And I want that for you guys too. And hey guys, leave me some feedback. Drop a comment below, hit the like and subscribe button. Let me know what you guys want to see more of. If you like the motorcycles, maybe some more action, if you want to learn a little bit more about starting businesses and making money, I build a lot of things and I love to have fun. And there are ways to blend the two things together to maximize what you're getting out of life. And I'd love to share some of those things with you, but let me know. I'd love to hear from you guys. I'm already working on bigger things that hopefully everyone who wants to can be a part of and get something valuable out of. But I appreciate you for watching and sticking with me. I had to do one more. Come on. I hope to see you guys in some more videos. Bang, bang. Doesn't sound like that for real. Sticks.